All right, let's jump right in. We're about to unpack a story that's, get this, 2,400 years old. But it might just be the single best metaphor for our digital lives today. It's a story about prisoners, about shadows, and about a really painful journey to find the truth. Sound familiar at all? So, let's just start with a direct question for you. Think about the last thing you saw on your screen. Maybe a news clip, a viral video, that perfect photo. Were those shadows the whole truth? Or were they just a projection of it? The parallel is pretty striking, isn't it? The tech has changed, sure, we've gone from stone walls to glowing screens, but that fundamental question about what we perceive as reality, it's exactly the same. Okay, so let's dive into the first part. To really get how this ancient story applies to us, we have to go back and understand the original, the world of those prisoners who were trapped, watching nothing but shadows. So try to picture this. Plato says this is basically the human condition. You've got these prisoners who have been chained since they were kids, and they can't even turn their heads. All they've ever known are these flickering shadows on the wall right in front of them. The shadows are cast by objects being carried behind them, and they hear echoes and think the sounds are coming from the shadows. For these people, this isn't some illusion. This is reality. Now, what's really fascinating here is that Plato's cave isn't just a story. You should think of it more like a map, a framework for understanding reality itself. The cave, well, that's just our everyday world, what we see and touch. The shadows are the absolute lowest level of reality. We're talking mere images and opinions. The fire is the source of light for that false reality. And the sun outside, well, that represents the ultimate truth, what Plato called the form of the good. That's the pure, unchanging idea of things like justice or beauty or goodness. But what happens if one of these prisoners is suddenly set free? This is the huge turning point in the story, the moment of liberation. But as you're about to see, the journey out of the cave is anything but easy. It's actually pretty brutal. And this quote from Socrates really gets to the heart of it. See, Plato believed that real education isn't about just pouring facts into an empty head. It's not like an upload. He thought the ability to learn is already inside all of us. It just needs to be turned in the right direction. So that brings us to this absolutely crucial concept, periagoge. It's a Greek word that means a turning around. But listen, it's not just about turning your head to look at something new. It's the turning of the whole soul. It's a complete rewiring of what you care about, what you want, and what you think is important, moving away from the world of shadows and toward the world of truth. And this just lays out so clearly why that journey is so hard. First off, the prisoner is forced to turn. They don't just decide to leave one day. Then the light, first from the fire and later the sun, is blindingly painful, it's disorienting. This is all a symbol for a deep psychological struggle. I mean, to leave the cave, you have to question everything you thought was true. And that means the journey is also an ethical one. It doesn't just change what you know, it fundamentally changes the person you are. Okay, so we've walked through the original cave and that painful journey out. Now we get to the big pivot. How on earth does this 2,400-year-old story explain the device that's probably in your hand right now? This is the key question, isn't it? If we're living in a new kind of cave, then what are the modern chains that are keeping us staring at the wall? The answer might be a lot closer than you think. And boom. This slide just maps it all out. The modern cave? That's the digital echo chamber, the filter bubble that kind of surrounds each of us online. The shadows on the wall? That's our curated feeds, the viral memes, and now, even incredibly sophisticated deepfakes. The puppeteers who are casting those shadows? They're the engagement-driven algorithms, designed with one goal, to keep our eyes glued to the screen. And the chains? Well, the chains are forged from our own confirmation bias, that very human tendency to just accept what we already believe. And this is what happens. We end up in these isolated bubbles, what researchers call cognitive silos, where our own beliefs are just endlessly reflected back at us. And with AI and deepfakes making it so hard to tell what's real, it gets harder and harder to trust anything we see, which just wears away at the very idea of a shared reality. So this brings us to the final part, where we turn this whole allegory from just a diagnosis into a personal challenge. Because escaping the digital cave requires that same difficult turning, that same periagoge that Plato was talking about thousands of years ago. It's so important to remember that the ultimate goal here isn't just about collecting more facts. It's a deeply personal journey towards psychological freedom. It's about moving from a state of being mentally trapped to fully realizing your authentic self. And look, there's no easy way out. There's no shortcut. Just like that original prisoner, escaping the modern cave takes real intellectual courage. It means you have to be willing to face the discomfort of having your most deeply held beliefs challenged. It means you have to actively seek out that blinding light instead of just settling for the comfortable, familiar shadows. So, we'll leave you with this final, timeless question. In a world of infinite feeds and algorithm-driven realities, which way is your soul turned? Is it toward the comfortable, flickering shadows on the wall? Or is it toward the difficult, dazzling, and ultimately liberating light of the sun?